Good morning and welcome back to another video, and today is another day of the PDSA fundraiser. Now just stick around and enjoy the video. So for the fundraiser for today, we are going to be going over our mailbox and we're going to actually just overview what we're actually doing and then what we're going to be progressing into our gold making rotation in the future. So that being the case, let's run over to our mailbox and have a gander at what we've actually got. Today we have a healthy 314,892 gold. Things of note are Tranquil Ink, 17 of that for 4,681 gold. We have Spiritual Healing Potions, 110 of those for 4,126 gold. The other thing of note is Spectral Flask of Power, 64 of those for 66,843 gold. The other things of note is Spectral Flask of Stamina, and we just gained another one there. Never mind. It's Spectral Flask of Stamina, 34 of those for 10,525 gold. We also have Potion of Empowered Exorcism for 6 of those for 1,710 gold. Potion of Spectral Intellect for 28 of those for 10,183 gold. And that is a whole stack of Potions of Spectral Agility, 200 of those for 86,539 gold. Other things of note is the Missive of Versatility, 4 of those for 3,040 gold, as well as Sealed Tome of Lost Legion, 14,000 gold for that one right there. So I'm quite happy with that. We actually sold it for the 15k, but obviously auction house cuts. And yeah, we're going to have to put another one on the auction house. The next thing of note actually going through this will be and that will be, and along with that, on our last thing of the actual mailbox clean out is Spectral Flask of Power, 95 of those for 101,000 gold, bringing our total up to 316,888 gold. So quite happy with that. It's doing okay. Obviously we didn't actually hit over our threshold once again, but we're actually, no, we are just we're at 1.5 million. And we still have quite a bit more coming in for today, and that is another 47,918 gold coming in, and we haven't even done any of our crafting yet for the day. And overall we should be actually hitting over that benchmark for the day. We got a dip, but we invested a huge chunk into stuff, and then we've actually had to do some reposting. So we should see a nice influx coming in for the rest of the day. Obviously I probably will actually open up my auctions for the day, but the question of note for that is, what we actually want to do today is go over what we've actually been doing to make our gold and what we actually should be doing to go on into the future. So at this moment in time we are currently crafting with anything that is profitable. Currently for us it is alchemy and enchanting that are doing surprisingly well. Those things of note are doing relatively well in the grand scheme of things, and I'm quite happy with that right there. I've taken off enchanted items as they're not really that viable for myself. I can always do them, however, but if I add them in, it's a massive gold sink into that. And if you actually have a look at the profit potential, enchanted heavy callous hide, the profit potential is not that good for the initial investment, because if we actually remove the heavy callous hide, it's like 500k to actually drop on that. So realistically it's not really worth me actually bothering doing it. And pretty much same goes for like the enchanted one as well, and the silk. Now I could always do them, but I'm not going to, because it's quite competitive at the moment and I usually will end up with a net loss, because I'm having to cancel, scan and repost in order to actually keep up with the demand and then obviously get them to actually sell. So at the moment I'm not actually using the enchanted items on my thing because it's just so competitive. With potions it's really easy. So what I'm doing with my potions is I'm posting them once in the morning and I get a load of sales, and then I do it once before I go to bed around about 10, and then they usually sell even better around about that time. The realistically, when it comes towards alchemy, you want to actually repost roughly around about anywhere from around about, I would say around about 6 in the afternoon to around about 9 at night. That's usually when people start buying more of those. So that's just a little side note. But today's crafting, based upon what we're actually doing, so enchanting and alchemy, we are going to be spending about 362,000 gold for a 107,000 gold profit, estimated obviously. The thing of note for that we've actually been doing as well is that Garn Nighthowl farm, as well as the Sealed Tome of Lost Legion. Those ones roughly take me around about 10 minutes just to do per day, so that's a really nice rotation that I can actually do, and because those ones are repeatable, I can do them as many times over as I want. The only thing I do have to factor in is the times of respawns, which is usually roughly around about an hour for the Sealed Tome of Lost Legion, and for Garn Nighthowl obviously about 20 minutes. So I'm really not overly that fussed, so I can do those like every hour and I don't really need to worry that much. But there are other things that I should actually factor into these rotations. We do need other things to actually post into the auction house, as well as doing our crafts, and better yet, I was actually thinking probably some 5-minute farms. Those ones usually don't take that long. Obviously, our aim goal is to make a rotation for gold making that takes very little time but has a very huge upswing when it comes towards making gold. So I was looking into 5-minute farms, what I've actually covered in the past, and see which ones that we can add into this rotation. The other things of note that I have been actually talking or thinking about is jumping back into my mounts crafted. Obviously we can do like obviously we can do the alchemy one, obviously we do it. I just keep an eye on it instead of actually using it as a restock, because it's just easier to keep an eye on it. Along with that, we could actually do our mechanized chopper, which is located in WorthIt engineering for crafted mounts. And I could add that in right there, do the mechanized chopper. But do I really want to do that? It will cost me quite a bit of gold in order to actually do. So pretty much, do I want to invest that much in the mechanized choppers and then have the rest of it idle while that actually does it? Its current sell rate is around about 0.09, which, to be honest, let's just round it up and just say 0.1. Yeah, it sells, but it's not going to sell that frequently. So I've got to factor that in as well. However, we could actually do all mounts, and that won't actually cost us all that much. Like, looking at it, Ruby Panther's doing really well, the flying machine does rather well as well, and so does the flying carpet. Those ones seem to sell really fast, so I could actually increase the production of that. Probably want to sell like 20 and then actually just post 5 at a time, because whenever I post 5, they usually all sell within a matter of seconds, so it kind of works that way. Other things of note with that, when it comes towards mount crafted, it's really not that difficult when it comes towards mounts. It's just being smart with reducing the cost, and we did do a spreadsheet on that on a video a while back. So that is something that we can do right there. Obviously that will cost us a nice chunk of gold, and currently as it stands we want to spend what we've actually got so we can actually show the upticks, and then we can start investing into other markets, because we want to see if the actual thing actually works, instead of jumping into a market before we've already established it and seen it's profitable for us. So currently we're going to stick with enchanting and alchemy and then see if that's profitable. Obviously it is working out to be profitable. We just need to wait for a couple more upticks just to make sure, and then we can jump into more crafted areas. So we could jump into like tailoring, for instance, or we could jump into something else like that. So what we'll want to do for enchanting is I just want to update a few things, and with obviously alchemy we updated everything to be craft 200 of that, because it just is working, it's selling, so I can't really complain because that increases our profit margins. Now when it comes towards enchanting, however, we're going to want to make 50 instead of 10 of those enchants because they're selling really fast when it comes towards gold making. So that is something that we can do right there, and we can do that right now, and we could just go to enchanting, and we don't select the enchanted items, we can only do the enchanting one. However, we could actually do that on second thought. We could actually change that from 200 to 50, and then we could actually start crafting those enchanted items, but I don't really want to do that. So we'll change that from 10 to 50, and then when we actually go into our restocking, we can actually see that if we do that right now, we can actually increase that and make a load more stuff that we can actually sell on the auction house. So now we can make a huge more profit when it comes towards all of these enchants, and then we can just sell those for raid night. However, that has increased how much we're actually going to be spending for how much we're actually gaining, and we can actually kind of see what's actually going about. We've actually, just by doing that, we can spend another 130,000 gold for another 20k gold profit. So do we really want to do that is the question. Obviously I'm willing to do that, but that is a question you should really ask yourself as well. So overall, what do I actually think of our gold making routine at the moment? It's doing really well. It takes roughly around about 40 minutes in order to do per day. The other things to note that we should factor in is some high value items. So obviously I alluded to the battered hilt farm the other day. That takes about 20 minutes to actually farm. Other things that we could actually do is by literally just having a look at what's actually working. So we could actually do the Arcanite Reaper farm for those plans. The plans don't sell overly that fast. Do we really want to do it? And that sells at a 0.02. Well, those Reaper plans don't take that much time to actually farm up, and we could gain a massive supply of those before the end of the day, and then we could just let that run while we do something else and allocate another character to another farming location until we start running dry on those Arcanite Reaper plans, because they sell for around about 10k at the moment on my server, and on the region market value average it's around about 9,000. So overall it's not that bad for the time that you're investing in that, and then you can just use that, let that run while you do the other things. So that is something that we can do right there. The last thing that I would actually want to cover when we're going over our crafted thing is we could go into our flipping section, and I was having a look at smelting. When it comes towards like the flipping module in general, we could actually make a nice chunk of true gold, but here's the thing, true gold doesn't sell overly that fast. 0.04 on my server. It's cheaper to actually just make it, and same with the Arcanite bars. You know how long it took me to sell those Arcanite bars, so realistically I don't really want to do that. But when it comes towards smelting, a lot of these stuff actually sell relatively fast, so 0.13, and that gives us a 29 gold profit for motes of fire, so that's getting primal fires and just breaking them. Other things of note is Titan Steel bars. Titan Steel bars sell for a hefty chunk of gold. They're really easy to produce, and overall that's something that I can do moving forward. So that's always something I can actually bear it in mind, but I've got to remember that the profit potential for that, does it weigh up to the cost as well? So that is something that you may want to consider if you're going to persist with this. Obviously I'm going to stick with my crafting setup the way it is for like the next week. We'll see if it's viable as we're going, and then we can add more professions in as we go, build up a nice routine that way, and see which ones are doing well, which ones are making the most profit, and then we can actually just add more farms while we're in there to make up a nice routine, because we haven't even hit an hour's worth of work for what we're actually pulling in. So, that being the case guys, have a lovely rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be tomorrow. If you want to support the channel and help make the channel even better, then why not check out the Patreon. Members get additional info, gold making resources, and Patreon specific content. The link is located in the description down below. Thank you and have an awesome day.